In gaming and tech this week, which is where we find ourselves now, there's some seriously interesting stuff percolating under the surface. Some of it seems to be designed to cause a little bit of chaos, and we're going to talk about that. First, in the broad strokes, that little bit of chaos might be Pal World. They've just announced some updates that are kind of poking the bear of Nintendo. Yeah, a little pointed. Anyway, that's one of the big ones. Next is, out of nowhere, we got a trailer for an old revival. This game is 20-something years old at this point, and it just got a new iteration. We're going to talk about that. And we have a little bit of taste of what could have been. We have details on a failed Warner Brothers game from Monolith Studios, which was recently shuttered, that was going to be known as WB Racers. So that's just three of the big things going on. There's a lot more making waves in gaming and tech. So let's do the thing. Welcome once again, nerds, to the Clips channel. This is a smaller portion of a much larger video called The Week in Nerddom that happens over on the main channel. This portion is specifically the gaming and tech portion, where we're going to be talking about brand new things in the world of gaming and tech. So like new computer things. We don't really get too deep into that. I feel like the guys over at Linus and Gamers Nexus and such cover that fairly well. So we'll get the broad strokes there. We'll get in a little bit more deeply in the gaming side of things, so new announcements, DLCs, etc., etc. And then, we're going to suggest some things for you to try out between now and next time you come back. So thank you for joining me. Let's get into the news. Follow-ups, corrections, gaming and tech. We have a follow-up, and this is probably our biggest story in the section. It's maybe. Well, I'll let you decide. Either way, Pal World is our follow-up because we've been keeping tabs on it as it's been going. This one isn't necessarily dealing with the lawsuit directly between Nintendo and the developers of Pal World for copyright infringement for a lot of Pokemon stuff and so on and so forth. This is just new features inside of the Pal World ecosystem that are probably going to exacerbate their issues with Nintendo, legitimately. So Pal World have released, where is it? The photo mode and crossplay. So photo mode is the big one here. Crossplay, I'm sure it is kind of irrelevant to Nintendo because they're only available on the one platform. However, photo mode seems to be a little bit encroachment on previous iterations of other Pokemon games. So I really feel like they're kind of poking the bear with this one. But yeah, if you are a Pal World player, then those new features should be available to you currently. It was the most recent update for the game. That is the one follow-up that we have. No corrections. Let's talk now about trailers. We do have a trailer, and this one is a bit of a surprise because nobody thought that Painkiller was going to get revived. Why would you? It was a pretty solid Xbox game back in the day, and now it was like 21 years after the original game has been released. We now have a remake of said original game that is cross-platform. It is on Xbox and PlayStation and Steam. It looks, by the looks of the trailer, it feels a bit more like Doom than it did previously. Probably due to the success of the Doom franchise in modern gaming. Over the course of the last 8 years, Doom has just kind of gone awesome. Even more so than, when it originated, to a certain degree, genre as a whole. But there is no specific release date for this Painkiller remake, only sometime this fall. So 2025 in the fall. That's all we got. That is the only trailer we have this week, so let's talk. Like I said at the beginning of the season, this is going to be a big merch push season. We are jumping in to doing the merch. I have the first specialty piece lined up. It's probably going to drop next month though, so we're looking at April for our first specialty piece. So jump in now, get yourself some basic nerd shirts, just the real basic design. Let the world know that you are a nerd and you love the things that we talk about on this show. In the broad strokes, at the very least, there's the music nerd, there's the movie nerd, there's the gaming nerd and the tech nerd and all of the different kinds of nerds that we embrace here at Generally Nerdy, and then all of the other ones. If you feel like your category has been missed, please by all means let me know, and I will make a shirt based on that information, assuming I agree with said information. But either way, merch push, go check out the merch store. We got some pretty awesome stuff, and I'm actually quite proud of these designs because I did them all by hand. So thank you very much, nerds. Go check out the merch store. Don't forget to, you know, pick something up while you're there. Helps the channel a lot. As soon as we can start regularly getting merch out, I can start cutting back hours at the day job. That's how this works. I can focus more on entertaining and informing you guys. So thank you very much, nerds. Let's get back to the video. Talk now about some regular ass news, and again, this is probably our other biggest news piece in this section, and that is what could have been from Monolith Studios. WB Racers was apparently a project that was being worked on by Monolith Studios, and it is worth noting because, you know, this was going to be a Mario Kart kind of callback, much like Multiverses was a Smash Brothers kind of ripoff, or the idea steal. I don't even, like, there's no way to say that nicely, I think. But this was going to be with Warner Brothers IPs, and it's worth noting, I was going to say this a minute ago, sorry, worth noting that John Tobias, the co-creator of Mortal Kombat, was employed by Monolith Studios until they got shuttered just a few weeks ago. So Warner Brothers IPs, John Tobias is employed. We were going to get some Mortal Kombat kart. I'm telling you right now. We know very little. There has been some information that's come out about it. Kind of basically everything I just gave you, the name, were WB Racers. We also know that they were going to try and release it sometime around the early days of the COVID pandemic, but the pandemic kind of killed it. And then there was some animosity between Monolith and the publisher, or the developer rather, that created Multiverses, because they were a similar idea in that they're going to take IPs from across the Warner Brothers catalog and put them into a game together. It's just the Multiverses was a fighting game, and WB Racers is a race car game. So I mean, obvious differences aside, they were a similar concept. And the Multiverses, for whatever reason, is the one that got the green light to go forward, and then they kind of put the WB Racers on the back burner, apparently to see how well Multiverses does, which is kind of an illogical statement, because if we have a fighting game, the fighting game's success is going to have very little to do with the kart game. So the kart game's success is not directly tied, even though it seems like that's the way that the upper-ups at Sony thought it was going to happen. So yeah, it's dead in the water at this point, sadly enough. But that is what we have for regular ass news this week, which brings us to our suggestion. Suggestion this week is a little bit unusual as far as the suggestions go, and that is Gemini 2.0. So the experimental version. So on screen, if you're watching and not listening, if you're listening, you're gonna have to go check out the Rumble or the YouTube page. But on screen, you're seeing right now, I'll include a link in the description to get you there. But the Gemini 2.0 experimental is a lot of fun to play with, and it's absolutely free. If you've never touched an AI before, you don't know how to get into it, like, there's a lot of stuff where they're kind of holding your hand with how to interact with this AI. And again, it's 100% free. You have to select off to the side which model you want. There are two models that are totally worth playing with. Both of them are free: 2.0 experimental and 2.5 experimental. The difference being 2.5 will only give you a text result. 2.0 is multimodal, meaning it can give you, technically it could give you audio, though I haven't played with anything that generates audio. I've really just played with the generation of text responses and image responses. The image generator in this Gemini is local to this AI. It is not borrowed from another AI that Google owns. They're doing this inside this one AI. So it's really interesting. And the versatility for this is incredibly broad, and also kind of given Grok over on X a run for its money. So without gushing too much, follow the link in the description, check out how to interact with an AI, go have a little bit of fun with a totally free, insanely powerful AI, Gemini 2.0 and 2.5 experimental. That is your suggestion for the week. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.